Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I welcome the opportunity to take part in this debate today. And I want to thank the member for Lagan Valley, Mr. Given, for bringing this legislation to the floor of the House. Although there is much that could be said about abortion law in Northern Ireland and the manner in which changes have been made, that is for another day. Today we are here to discuss the second reading, and second reading, as we all know, is an opportunity for us to debate the general principles of a bill. And I believe that the general principles and aims of this short bill are simple and easily understood. Quite simply, it is about equality and ensuring that everyone is equally valued, regardless of his or her abilities. Mr. Speaker, without this bill, we are saying that children with disabilities, while in the womb, are not equal with other children. I cannot emphasise enough how strongly I disagree with that sentiment. But I want to share with the House today not my own views, but rather the views of a friend and former constituent of mine who has sent a letter to many MLAs in this place, sharing her experiences of her child, her son, who has Down syndrome. And I think it is important that we allow other people's voices to be heard today, not just those who have been elected to this place. She says, Harry was born at just over 37 weeks, and following his birth we were told he had some of the markers for Down syndrome. A few days later his diagnosis was confirmed. Were we shocked? Yes. This was totally unexpected, as there had been nothing picked up on our scans. Did it change how we felt about Harry? Absolutely not. Are we anxious about the future? Yes. But then Harry amazes us with his strength, progress and determination. And this reminds us, as a nurse did in the hospital, that Harry isn't Down syndrome. It does not define who he is or who he will become. She goes on to say that this bill is simply asking that babies who receive an antenatal diagnosis, or even when the parent is told there is a possibility of a diagnosis of a disability, that they be given the same rights as other babies. This is about equality. We live in a society that constantly talks about equality, inclusivity, yet here we are taking away the rights of a baby before he or she is even born. My older son would be protected after 24 weeks. But my youngest could have been terminated right up to birth. Why? I hear the experiences of women in England who have been told their unborn baby may have a high chance of having Down syndrome, and how they are asked repeatedly at appointments if they are considering termination. At times, right up to just before a baby is due to be born. It scares me that this could become the experience of women in Northern Ireland. Do we want to live in a country where Down syndrome and other disabilities are viewed with such negativity, such fear? She then says, a close friend who has a daughter in her 20s who also has Down syndrome came to visit me while I was still in hospital after having Harry. We were able to compare our experiences of the first few days following diagnosis, and despite the amount of time that had passed, I will never forget her words to me as we sat in the hospital canteen. Grace, we consider it a privilege to be the parents of a child with Down syndrome. I have never forgotten these words. She finishes her letter by saying, how would a change in this legislation impact adults and children with a disability? It would make them feel equal, help them know that their lives are valued. So let's work together to end this discrimination against those with a disability, or as someone put it recently, those with a different ability. So I ask you to consider your vote carefully when you are given this opportunity, and recognise the strength of feeling that exists within Northern Ireland. Mr. Speaker, I could not have put it better myself, and therefore I support the bill.